This is the Edimax IC7001W indoor camera. This is my second experience with the Edimax camera. I tried also the 3116W. So I had a little bit better idea of how to set this thing up after going through the experience with the first 3116 camera. Included with this camera is the quick install guide, a CD that contains the software, and a pretty decent instruction manual, a power adapter, Ethernet cable, and mounting hardware, although in this case you don't necessarily need to mount it since you can just kind of sit it anywhere you really want. You know, like the 3116, this is a budget level camera for indoor use only. You can't use it outside. But it does have a few more features that I kind of like on this, and almost wish they would kind of combine the two together, because I think the 3116 has a little bit better picture overall. Setup is very similar to the other camera. It's not too complicated, but again, for me, I found the easiest way to set up either camera using the Ediviewfinder. It does support WPS, but I found Ediviewfinder was the easiest way to get things up and running. You know, again, I always suggest for stuff like this to make sure you get out and update the firmware for this camera before you do anything else, and before you mess with the settings. You know, then I made all my changes via the IP web address in the settings. You will need to install the ActiveX for this if you haven't already for one of their other cameras. And again, like the other camera, you know, there's 3 or 4 things that you really should change before you worry about anything else. Change your default camera password. Change your date and time so that it matches your time zone. Enable motion detection if that's what you really want this to do, and set up your event alerts if that's what you really want this camera to do. The Android app was similar to the other camera. You know, it found this camera easily. You know, although again, I wish the app had the ability to view both cameras at the same time, or 4 cameras at the same time. As far as I'm aware, it can only do one at a time. You have to swipe between the two. Again, the clarity of the picture was good through the app. And like the 3116, this is not ONVIF compliant, unfortunately. So you can't use it for other software, which is a shame, because I would have liked to integrate it with my own system I already have. So you have to kind of use the own Edimax surveillance software, which isn't perfect. It's got a few bugs in it and not as user-friendly as I'd like it to be. You know, I've mentioned in my previous review, the same bugs apply. If you click email notification before you set it up, it keeps squawking at you until you set it up. It sets up 16 directories for 16 cameras, even if you have only 1 or 2 set up, which I don't understand that issue. And it also has that same screen flicker in the surveillance software, even though the picture is fine in the web page version and in the tablet app version. So again, some bugs in the software. The video and images are pretty decent for a budget level camera. Maybe not quite as clear as the 3116, but the thing that this has going for it over the 3116 is this has the ability for this to pan and tilt, move around, which is pretty cool. And it can record audio as well if you really want to do that. You know, again, this is a budget level camera. It's not going to compete with high level cameras, of course, but decent for budget, economical level indoor camera. For me, I'm going to use it as a supplement to my primary system, mainly to be able to keep an eye on my garage area. In this case, this particular camera is going to be in my kitchen area. You know, the bottom of this camera gets a little warm, but the good thing about this one, unlike the other one, is it's got a metal venting, so it should vent well without any heating issues for the camera itself or for you know, for the surrounding area. I'll get into mounting about this, but really, you don't really have to mount this because I'm not going to mount this. I'm just going to set this somewhere. But it does have mounting tools attached, and and that looks relatively easy to do. Although, like I said, in this case, this is perfect for sitting on top of a shelf or an area, cabinet, whatever. Overall, I think this is a decent budget camera. Again, like the 3116, it has its shortcomings. No on VIF compliance, and the surveillance software is a little quirky and maybe not as user friendly as I'd like. But I mean, this is a decent level camera, and maybe a slight edge overall because of the features it has over the 3116. But still a decent camera and fairly equivalent. I give this 4 stars.